Smallpox used to take the lives of millions of people every year. Although it existed in nature for thousands of years, global trade exponentially spread the virus. It is not exactly known where this disease originated. Scientists think they have discovered smallpox rashes on Egyptian mummies. As you can see here, smallpox was reported to have spread across continents over 1,000 years ago. Smallpox made its way to the Americas, either from a European explorer or an infected slave. It is not 100% certain. What is certain is the damage it caused, with estimates of 3 million Native Americans dying to smallpox between 1550 and 1850. George Washington caught smallpox in 1751 after a visit to Barbados when he was just 19 years old. Smallpox continued to make its way through the colonies as more settlers and soldiers arrived from Germany and Britain. Fast forward to the American Revolution and the Battle of Bunker Hill. George Washington forces the British out of Boston but fears that, since many of his soldiers were from rural areas, they did not have smallpox immunity. Washington sends in 1,000 of his men who had previously contracted smallpox, standing out by their scars on their face, into Boston to maintain order. In 1777, Washington decided to request his soldiers become inoculated, called variolation at the time. This was done in a variety of ways in history, with the earliest instances of variolation consisting of the dried smallpox scabs being blown up the nose of a person. The more modern form of inoculation consisted of the pus of a weak smallpox infection being inserted into the skin of someone to build immunity. This may have helped the Continental Army against the British, for if they had all contracted smallpox, they would have been severely diminished. These procedures had risks, but if performed correctly had increased the survival rate from contracting smallpox as much as 15 times. Despite these crude methods of disease prevention, which were being used all over the world by this point, smallpox still ravaged on. Smallpox was killing 300 million people in just the 1900s alone. Globally, dense areas across South America, Africa, and Asia were hit the hardest. In 1949, the last case of smallpox was eradicated in USA, but even in 1966, smallpox was endemic in 33 countries. The World Health Assembly approved funding to initiate a decade-long global eradication program. The Soviet Union and the United States donated more than 150 million doses of vaccine worldwide. One of the most common administration methods of the vaccine caused a small skin lesion, which eventually scars over, giving the signature bump associated with the smallpox vaccine. The last case of smallpox was reported in 1977 Somalia, and by 1980, the World Health Organization declared the disease fully eradicated. Centuries of chaos completely brought to a halt thanks to many creative, determined, and smart people. Smallpox is still in some laboratories across the world for research purposes, but it remains the first disease of that scale and infectability to be fully wiped off the planet otherwise.